Hi, I'm going to come into the kitchen here, give you a quick tour in our house that we call EcoSense. Coming into the kitchen, looking at my father-in-law's artwork on our natural plastered wall. Unbelievable beauty, which we get to look at right from our kitchen. And this kitchen is made almost entirely out of recycled materials. It was Gord's first attempt at kitchen cabinetry, and he did an amazing job on it. Got a bar out front that's made from an old trestle, and this piece here is actually black walnut made from a packing crate. There's sink over here, recycled. Hot water comes out of that tap, made by the sun, especially on a day like today. We are making some hot water. Here's a beautiful bowl of cherry tomatoes, which are so unbelievably sweet. The kids eat them like grapes. They're like candy. They also work really good for drying them. We just came in that door here. There's a book right by the phone, because our phone is actually hardwired to the wall. It doesn't walk around the room with us, so we keep it right there. And all of our lighting in this house is LED lighting. And it's actually quite warm and yellow. It's not that old blue light that they used to associate with LEDs. We've got under cabinet lighting there. Should back up a little bit. I've put a few things out to look at in our kitchen. A lot of people wonder what it's like to live in a greenhouse and what our house is like, what our kitchen is like. One of our biggest sins is our propane stove. We use fossil fuels to cook. But we also cook all of our food right from scratch and do a lot of home canning and stuff, and having flame for that is really useful. And in all reality, we don't use very much propane. If we were going to go electric stove, we would have needed 8 more solar panels. In this house, we actually are net zero electricity. All of our energy comes from the sun for electricity. So we've got a range hood there, LED in it, and a fan. A lot of homemade cooking tools. And more recycled wooden counters. Right beside the stove here we have an earthen countertop. It's great for putting the hot things on. This is our coffee and tea corner, and we hand grind our coffee every morning. It's not local coffee. They don't grow it here in BC, but it is organic and fair trade. And we do make a lot of our own teas though here. And there we have a bread table, which is a little bit lower, so it's a lot easier to knead our bread. Gord actually makes most of the bread in our family, and we bake it in the cob oven. And we've got a picture of that we can show you later. We do have chickens that lay the most amazing eggs, because they get to run around and be chickens all day and eat a lot of bugs. And this is some fruit leather that Gord and the kids made yesterday. We did it in the propane oven on cookie sheets, just on low, and we did it on parchment paper. It worked incredibly well. Fruit leather doesn't have to be pretty, it just has to be tasty. The kids ate the last batch that I made in about 2 days, so they were, it was time that they learned how to make it themselves. And over here, this is where we do all of our baking, so we've got all of our measuring things hanging right on the wall there. And right there is the feta cheese, which I just started making this year from the local goat milk that we get from the farm, straight from the goat. I love that feta cheese. But I should put it back in the fridge. So I'm standing actually beside our fridge. Oh, sorry about that, it's a bit blurry, I'm too close. And you can tell it's a fridge because of the fridge magnets on it, and all of the kids' art all over it. They've actually got their bus schedule hanging on there too. It's hard when you're a little bit too close here. But I'm going to go open it up. It's just a chest fridge. Uses a fraction of the amount of electricity of a conventional fridge. We tell people on tours that it uses about half a solar panel to run this fridge, as opposed to your regular Energy Star fridge, which is about, what, 6 or 8 solar panels. It's amazing. We've got a bunch of goat's milk in there, all kinds of home preserves and stuff. And I'm going to put the feta cheese back in. There it is. I've got a couple batches on the go. And close that up. It's a really easy fridge to use. And over there, oh, what is that? Could it be an actual appliance? Yes, we have 2 appliances here in the kitchen. We have an amazing blender and an equally amazing food processor. And to be honest, I just inherited the food processor. Didn't buy it, and I love it. It's really has made some of the processing of foods really easy. When you eat a lot of food from the garden, it makes some amazing soups, and also helps with salsa and tomato sauce, all that kind of stuff. And Looking over around the kitchen again. It's a compost bin that we fill up sometimes twice a day. But as you know, we compost everything in the EcoSense house. And over there I pulled out a couple of things from the pantry. As you can see, we're in a very small space here. We're all kind of self-contained in a very small area. That's our circle room. And our kitchen is right here. So the kitchen is very much the center of the house, center of our living area. And we've got some wood from our own Doug fir tree that are embedded into the earthen floor. And for us, it kind of symbolizes sunbeams radiating out from the kitchen, because the kitchen is the source of our fuel, that we eat food to fuel our bodies. And here's a selection of things I pulled out from the pantry. We've got tomato sauce, and apple butter, blackberry jam, salsa, my mom's most amazing salsa, some pickles, even some of our own honey from last year, and a bunch of beans that we grew this year. We're actually starting to experiment growing beans to keep for winter because we absolutely love them. There's a jar of sun-dried little tomatoes, a jar of dried figs from Gord's dad's tree, a whole bunch of nettles from the neighbor's farm. I love nettle tea, one of my favorites. And some fava beans. We got about that much again in another container. So lots of fava beans for winter. Some dried apricots. And those we drove through the Okanagan this year, and we collected and brought home a bunch of fruit to preserve. Kind of a benefit, a bonus. And what's that on the table? Wow! That's actual quinoa. We were able to grow a ton of quinoa here. In a very, very small space, we grew an enormous amount of quinoa. And I think over behind me, I'm going to go around here again. Try not to move the camera too fast. I'm kind of new at this. In the kitchen again. There's another bowl over here that's full of this year's harvest of quinoa. And that's a pretty big bowl of quinoa. I mean, look at my hand here. It's there's a lot of meals in that, because quinoa is actually a complete protein. It's a grain, and it's got a lot of calories in it actually. So what else did I want to say in here? We've also got a light tube in here. One of the benefits of our house is that we really try to design it for lots of natural lighting. So up on the ceiling we've got a bamboo mat up there. Sorry, it's a bit blurry. But that's a light tube. That's natural light coming into our kitchen. And so, beautiful warm color. So we love our kitchen. We're hardly hard done by. And in our house we use 90% less water than the average person in BC. And we use 90% less electricity than the average person in BC. We probably use a little bit more energy in total than the average in BC for cooking. Just for cooking, because we, like I said, we make all of our own food from scratch. But we just started doing some cooking using the bread oven right out front that we just completed a couple weeks ago. And we did 6 loaves of bread in it a couple days ago, followed by a baked squash curried casserole to take to a Thanksgiving dinner. And we also did some baked beans overnight. So awesome. So it may seem like we're doing a lot of different eco things in this kitchen, making a lot of our own food for winter, and it may seem kind of overwhelming, and to be honest, it is sometimes. But I'd never canned anything 4 years ago. Actually, 3 years ago is when I did my very first jar of pickles. And so it was just kind of like one thing at a time. Don't try to do too much too fast. It's whatever you're enthusiastic about on the day. You know, follow your passions, whatever's of interest to you, and don't try to do it all at once. Do one thing at a time. One step at a time. Don't try to do it all at once. Just have fun with it. Make some mistakes and get creative. And so what if your fruit leather doesn't look like the stuff that comes from the store? Kids gobble it up and it's yummy. Anyways, sign out. See ya.